The Tale of Genji. Suitsumu Hana. Murasaki Shikibu. If tear wear on the skin around also Warimotoko is Kakuko. Rashi unexpected Shima to acquire such only Akiko. Grief that has lost your gourd of Genji. Was not able to forget even the moon stood year is changed. Mrs. You are in Sadaijin home also. If there is cannot picky is of allowing generous the other mistress of Rokuho lady also strong. Hubris and Genji. Also by cumbersome. Genji gives us the carefree freedom of mind just lovers being memorial. In somehow woman without very much form of identification. The think without care in. And the public to also learn by experience and want to find a little embarrassed not even such a lover. Face immediately curiosity of Genji is a woman called Ish little good. Well, but send in first short letter is to think and let's close. Come represents a favor from the other it's just more of a woman. Who can take a callous attitude even though the unlikely Genji was remember the disappointment. Rather, even if there is their case conditions as expected. Ichoka of defective in the head. A one-woman lithium. Even out to the attitude that pretentious once against Genji. Think back Tokas as to myself knowing was there was also to or got married a man. Not boring as Tae. Orientation there were many that remain multiplied by the story. Utsuzumi was a happen also feeling similar to admire is remind seasons of something. Nadaogi of Noki but also sometimes it seems that the letter is sent. Remembering that the face was clean of that scene in the flicker of light you feel that may be left to the lovers to Genji. Kimi of Genji did not have things like discarding forget the woman who made the relationship even. Once, to say that the nanny of Saman, from Genji of the woman who had been Ituara to the next nanny of Dani. Only daughter had been the imperial palace served as saying Myobu of Daisuke. Person who is Daisuke Hyobu of Mr. Wong was a father. Amorous that was a young woman. But Genji was also used in the manner of the wife in the imperial court of the night duty office. Nanny Saman now is married to protect Shikuzan. So has gone to Kyushu. Ice or served a lady as parents the Hyobu Daisuke of the house is a father. Prince and was the viceroyalty of Hitachi. Hyobu Daisuke its breath is. Myobu in passing something that the princess that became UF from getting to decoy the year. Has left orphan spoke to Genji. Sorry field Genji asked the detail that of the person. Toka things come Toka your appearance in any nature. Either is no well known. Shy because meeker you. Sometimes I will talk by much keech over. Koto is there Rashu friends the most. It am a good thing. He called the Koto and the poetry and three a friend sake. I do not go to the friends of the daughter only sake. This kind of joke Genji after you have said. Do not let me to hear the queen's harp sound. Miya's Itachi. Since seems better to be good. Such as such music, it seems to would not have the mediocre gay. And he said, that way if there is a value that will ask you to oboe shimeshi, whether is not it good not make suggestive. Because there is oborozuki these days. Let's go quietly. You also me have shisa to the house. Since Genji is eager to say, well fear of Myobu of Daisuke what is going to be a nuisance. Because was when Imperial Palace is also a free time of patronage. Was an exit in the spring of Hanaga. Father of Daisuke is not live in Kyute. Loath to enter and exit to the stepmother of the house. Myobu is going home to Miyaki grandfather. Genji visited the Myobu at night hazy to Oberora of Sakuya of the month as was saying. Troubled. Such weather is never the not suitable for music thing. Go from well to the palace. Just me and then played you because good a cry. Then go home not heard from too boring. If by force desired is to. Well I sorry that we put to the young nobleman Toratrashi has its own room. And Myobu is try to go to the main room. The queen of the garden still the smell of plum blossoms not unloaded the lattice it looked of. When is a good place Myobu thought in mind. Since you will find the evening like I think if you can let the harp of voices. We have left the room. I even had I am asked to hear. Less is always time. Get to send my man, it does not become a regrettable that there is no between. Quote, and say, is not put out the hand as there are like you critics. Mora Eru, what was gay to listen to such people who are out on the imperial palace. While saying this also, as soon as the queen sees the Kazkisa with a harp, Myobu was rather startled. This is because I think that you have heard of Genji. Queen went make a subtle sumoto. Genji had heard interesting, not much of a deep gay, because those that harp of sound was exotic voice that does not have the other instruments. Did not think is hard to hear, although the mansion is very rough, and have the identity of the queen in such a lonely place. And to the like there is no vestige of important one the air life. Intense Akaro that no matter how bland, was also considered, such as something that often beautiful woman comes appear in front of the old novels to be such a background in Genji. Whether I will make the beginning of the negotiations from now I think. Up the seat embarrassed to be rudely seems I had money. Myobu is because I was a woman with a brilliant. It was thought to be the queen of the lost to be led in the distant person of music for a long time. Genji to the virtuoso of the band. It's there a month cannot be seen. But Chino evening out cloud. Because I have any more visits to us promised to my better tonight. You hit even as I have avoided deliberately and does not descend from. Also we will let you Yorori. Let's go down your lattice. Myobu went back to the room is not played long the koto. There is no gargle ask let alone there. Boring without knowing how much virtuoso of the Genji look seems to have a favorable impression on the queen. Me to go to guide toward the close parlor if you can. Do not you what let such as Yosonagara but the sound of them clothing's queen. And he said, not Myobu is not approached, I was wanted by a better imagination. You will find a useless. Dear sorry, your life. To have you started crowded Muri. Cannot such as to introduce the person of man. And to say of Myobu I thought also Genji to be a reason. Men and women cannot enter into the class, such as that unexpectedly meeting to talk. It was thought that since it is you somehow a lady. However, the future me had been my story so as to be dating. This from asking Myobu. Genji also was led back whether there is a person who has promised to other tonight. That you Irishai by saying so troubled well majesty because too seriously. To me their seasons cannot help things get weird. Because this kind of affair of incognito appearance majesty will not be to see. And if Myobu says Genji came back bipedal three-legged, he says with a laugh. It's what to say in moral human beings. If you say that cheating this, but what's in your love life, had decided that Genji it's amorous woman and it said toward the season's face such a thing Myobu did not say anything am ashamed. Genji I so wanna hear the sounds of the parlor of a woman living in the house as the quietly out to the garden. If the majority is going to stop by the Genji to shade is the height is the body of the little remaining Torukaki of you have already decayed. There is a man who had been standing there for a long time. And I think there is lustful man to fall in love with the queen would be anyone. Stood hidden to the darker. Is of a head lieutenant general of was in the garden from the beginning. While leaving the imperial palace in the evening at the same time today. Genji does not go also to Sadaijin house. Do not go back even to the article of the hospital. Lieutenant General, which saw when strangely parted in the middle is causing the suspicious itself without having to go from there was to also go home more of. It came about after the Genji. Although Genji did not notice the Lieutenant General who was carriagey new figure riding a deliberately poor horse. And to double the is also suspicious of Lieutenant General was entered to such a stunning mansion. I could not leave it was the time. So has been the sound of playing the harp. It while standing to be attracted is in the garden maint. On the one hand, had been waiting to come out of Genji. Genji is still not aware of whether the who, and said, came approaching man when trying to leave the garden and the new Kiyashimi not seen the face. I have Urameshiku became the seated Yumi, thus I've been sent. Morotomoto Ochiyama the unexpected show who enter etc. Sireda outpinch month of Yohi. Or else to say become good as manifested look at the secret was Haradata Shika. But Genji peace of mind is also to be was head lieutenant general. Was also freaking. Those who make such impoliteness thing no other of you. Also he said while rising hateful. The mountain is there a month to go Domo look at the unexpected divided village shadow paint. Someone Tajuru. Something like this I would all the time be troubled after walking about you'd. However, the success of love will also be determined by either do not go or take a good Zujin. Please take you with us from now on. Per person walking is dangerous. Head Lieutenant General said such a thing. Although Genji thought also to regret that has been reluctant good to head Lieutenant General. Only that the woman of that pink does not know Lieutenant General that it is now a thing of itself. Was Hokurishika in mind. The second destination to be head Lieutenant General and Genji had decided. Interesting is that Uriya, the Hutan, riding on one of the car without being farewell to Sidaijan house to hour and minute that darkened the Oborizukyo it came. To not let even make voice precursor. Entered softly. After such as he arrived to heal in the corridor of the room that does not come in person. In the ignorant face. Better lives of Genji with each other to blow the whistle to come now it came to. Sidaijan as prompted by the sound gave to Genji bring the komabue. The flute also Genji blew interesting because I was good at. People who can music among the also brought out as in my wife harp for the ensemble has become selected for by picker. Wife that Bill was a good lieutenant general. While being in love with head lieutenant general. Not fluttering in it. A woman who had followed easily in the heart of Genji does not come only in this Tomisaka. Of the Genji relationship is may soon. These days is pessimistic even though can no longer become I think you kindly Mrs. Princess like. Also Lieutenant General of the Minister. Was also lying in the thing shade away from fellow today. The gone to the place with no opportunity to see the Genji be truly Kokorobasoku. With each other to the agony. The two noble kinsmen, while in the midst of a musical tone had reminded the harp of the sound of that rough house. Badly became home also seems just as interesting things. Fancy is going to extend to various. Dainty beauty is. After you have lived so have been buried in that house. If that person becomes your lover of the discoverer, may himself also become addicted to the love of the people. So I thought the head lieutenant general until the like would trouble is also a little myself once. You supposed to be controversial occurs in people. Only that Genji is not never had visited the residence just a feeling is certain. When I think Koza head might be this person. And head Lieutenant General Kuchiyoshiku. Their expectations were also seems Takashi crisis. It is not hard to imagine that the two noble kinsmen later sent a letter to the princess of the House of Hitachi then. But it not come reply also to both. Head Lieutenant General it becomes matter of concern. It is unpleasant attitude. People like living in Anaheim I'm sure must have been easy to feel sorry of things. Also to natural trees and grass and sky of longer heart and must be such Yokosuka wrote a funny letter finds a match. Also how much good is of a self-esteem. Was to a frustrating thought that such antipathy happens to a woman that does not Yokosa the so. Reply it was. Head Lieutenant General because I was a good friend of the relationship as to this story and Genji. Without even secretive. Do you come to the house of reply of Hitachi? I do not come to say anything but I've done a little letter also. It is an insult to the form. But as was his imagination. Head Lieutenant General Genji was funny to think that he has sent a letter yet. Is because it's a woman who do not want to see particular the reply. I do not remember well or did not come it came. Genji is of such feel tantalize the Lieutenant General. Is that you do not come in answer is the same. Lieutenant General. Wanakuchiyoshi if I do not come here to go there. Genji is a ayaki to the callous attitude of the woman not to have a great devotion to had become willing to put discarded. From listening to the story of the head lieutenant general, woman towards the smooth-spoken of Lieutenant General would be taken. The woman made to feel good in it is like that of the beginning of the suitor, and I think it is sealed in had and will frosty to belittle their own. Because I learned a certain impatience is there. I asked seriously mediated then Daisuke Myobu. It's how much you even callous doing the letter. I is only a temporary affair. He has been interpreted as I have to say such a thing. Man, I can be heartless against woman, no. Always the better of the other party is impatient also become a bad result from the fact that go rebelled against from me, am said to be as I've thrown away after all. In the loneliness of people, among parents and siblings of the couple noisy Norse such as to interfere with one's carefree wife cannot be obtained. Can be enough love. Quote, no, such. That person will feel no not as unlikely to your partner like you like is enough to contact love. A very shy, but quiet point as towards the higher seems a little rare. Myobu told to Genji that only know of their own lady seems to wonder has not seen such sagacity. I say, I like as long as the innocent and unfussy. If Meta Myobu always I had to say something like this Genji. Then Genji or become a curd disease. Or by the pensive enough to forget the world to the trouble of painful love from his childhood when the disease heals. And it has passed the spring and summer of this year. And in the fall, time to be reminded to even Miss Genji it was noisy for the ear of the Incas heard in Gojo house. Gourd. Genji sent a letter often to the queen of the house of Hitachi. That there is no answer did not change at the beginning even now of autumn. If I think a woman to take a too decent off attitude out also nasty like that do not want to lose. It was often approached aggressively Torimochi to Myobu. Will I think in what way? I am Miss never met yet a woman that continue to take this kind of attitude. Myobu also feels sorry to hear you say uncomfortable likely of Genji. I am particularly this Goen is not also said there is not my best regards. But if you will not outhand in negotiations with the direction of the man in the way to shy, I do so that you do not come in your reply interpretation and we are. Quote, is not that it is wrong. Toka very year is young. And what people like that parents cannot do anything in your way you are. It is can be said as the most. The lonely life of Anna alone and that people have things to make the friends of the opposite sex. Then or said the friendly comfort. I think it's good that or let the people of myself. Even if something other troublesome marriage good. On your old house to visit. I want you to only things speak up to feel sorry for such a rough edge. Also not have to say that person is good, so as to somehow be close to me and that person do not you into things like out on that does not cause the irreversible act become impatient would be no absolutely. Quote, Genji was saying and so on, while listening to a woman of rumors so as not to have even interest. The time the habit, such as having a special interest to those with a medium that could be in Genji. To Surezure Yawa of night duty office of Genji. What of the mind Myobu or of the say-so of that of Hitachi of the Temple of Queen told. Without all the time that something like this is responsible was wondering annoying. When I thought the state of the Queen. Because it was not think Karanimoto what Natsukawashi worked the extra mediated role. But eventually seemed also that it would be what unfortunately the Queen. Genji is extremely because there was the fact that seriously started to say. I felt also no reason cannot agree. Hitachi Palace of the Viceroy is in dealing with the public and the rest of the house like the old reign. Even in your Zeisev was not rich even your life. Since such people to visit your it was may state that to say that nothing from that era. There was no person who intends to enter and exit to the much less grassy queen of residence are taken now, since that is the house letter of Genji came. Wife at all make the dream of each Yorai Fuku. but also advised to write a reply to the queen. The most shy of the queen and the all shy of the people of the world as the feel was also nothing to try to touch the heart of Genji, which is told in the letter. Myobu as if that desire so much of Genji, trying to awa you to things over by yourself and guidance, to do I alone with it if you do not like you. Also become a lover relationship there's an edge. Interfere with it people to stop te and such is not without to Miyaki. I think the young heart Myobu itself is wearing thought of as a light romance. I did not try to keep talking to the brother hit his father's queen. August is a 20 days to 8. Only the stars without leaving is still a month to 9 o'clock at night that looks white. And Kokorobasoku is shofu of the old mansion, and started to say in that of Chichimiya. The queen had been crying keep in Myobu, or news of Myobu which I thought to be a cage good cause Kisa visit to Genji went. Softly Genji came out as of this spring, light of the moon, which rose to become the hour and minute is. Myobu when the queen is watching which let play the kodo recommended in the lonely feeling that the show the old garden more and desolate thing. Poorly is not, it was not and the like would be good if along a little more modern gloss. Is Myobu, not calm the mind an attempt to be a secret thought. Genji since was a house that not many people were called the Myobu entered comfortably to the middle. Myobu is to show the food at the first time surprisingly. I customers, Husu, Irashi. It'll I know you of Genji. Irasharu to say loudly me to start and end a referral roll for the year relationship. Such a thing is just otherwise you me there is no good to me that we have. And then as well you say to me go to directly talk on your own. Contact attributed it I cannot. What if someone like gratuities? Rudely. But it does not have that kind of person. The story and the things over I was pleased to forgive only be cheer up to. Quote, the queen is very shy and say, because I'm not even know how to talk, and says going to go toward the back of the room while look to Yui Shiku. Laughing is Myobu. We welcome Rashiku to children. Even if say with any lady. Even only as long as the parent is he will not fully protected hello if you are his children. While reliquary Ira, to this kind of lonely your life. Too much of your strong it is wrong the notion of shame is. It was this kind of advice, queen of the shy nature that are not so muka that what people say is. If that I can have only do not just hear the Stonehenge I hear also down in the lattice. And he said, such as by to sit us on the veranda is subject rude. Unreasonable thing would not have made anyway. Appearance good to say. Close the fusumako between the next chamber Myobu itself certainly. It was to prepare for the seat of Genji to the next room. Genji I felt a little embarrassed. I do not know how to say what it is for the first time meet a woman as a person attached to the seat and decided that would be to take care as Myobu. Old woman who is a role such as a nanny is around with closed eyes of the evening entered the room. Madoi. Young couple. 3 people wife had to tokameka the heart to you of the visit of the famous Genji. While being allowed Tsukasa in good clothes queened himself upset of what the mind was not likely. The man with makeup so as not to highlight the beauty of the well. It seemed to deliberately tonight gloss. Myobu thought sorry and for it a place with no such person who understands the value of beauty. Only point there is no difference in being the queen as only Daisama in Myobu it seems that it is. Peace of mind is likely the blunders that Tsugi to the conversation because not visible. By fled their blame. The anxiety of whether would not be more unhappy sorry queen had. Genji than many women of pun care to show the Toshi Takumi the first time from the heart that is. Respected the custody of the opponent. But more of Daisama of such people as the omission of mind I thought a good feeling. At the other side of the fusumako. When you complete the recommended is a little seat and wives. Since the faint clothing the incense smell. I think that my imagination was not wrong. Good to talk about. such as that which was a love that continued to think for a long time also was not able to receive is also of Kuchizukara Stonehenge from the person does not answer the letter I. How can I? And Genji was Tansoku. The run products of clouds arsenic and the cloud is unexpected asked that I Guso of Mr. Unexpected. Defeat in silence. Do you please Iki? Are you would like to receive my love or not? Kutasara received by Young, a friendly wife of Chamberlain, the daughter of the queen of the nanny, Makainen, and said to Rishiku queen by the near the queen. Andal Kibel Sukai Tahiman. It is Mao to answer in the expected Ianaki. In youthful voice, because the said person who does not say gravely of the things that you do not die person. But I thought Genji that it amateur attitude as a lady. The first time for joy that was to say things to the other party. I will not say here is indescribably. Clouds pushed upcoming is carry vice bitter knowingly over non-cloud also the unexpected is. Quote, in various ways. Even if it is not that there is a real. Genji also seriously even seductive but continued to speak. In addition to the Stonehenge alone with that song was not. It is to take this kind of attitude to the man has a special idea and wonder if people who do. Genji himself feel regretful as it is contempt. Genji at that time was entered at a Fusumako toward the queen of the chamber. Myobu is when I feel sorry for the queen and that it has been allowed to off guard to paying attention. Not woven also there. Went back to more of their own room and the ignorant sealed. Young wife that such chamberlain is have a favorite of the fact that the source of light is of much force is also to be favoring his master did not out. Had just been sympathy to the queen would marry something like this without also available of what? The mind. The queen was just buried in shame. Genji is a good woman is such fu of the beginning of the marriage. While the woman has been reluctant longer important in the single min shikorio and will these kind of things. Unexpected fall in full to the appearance of a woman who knew the fumbling it seemed to be in some places. Love is possible, such as gives rise newly was not even a little. Tansoku, while still was the Genji and go home to the dawn side. Myobu was not sleep in what became whether the overnight throughout worry. But also new noises at this time. I think it is better to keep quiet. I did not stand even the voice of greeting and let's will send you. Genji is the went quietly out of the gate. Back to the article of the hospital. Genji while the maintain everything even if you think that those that cannot afford to as fancy. Just because identification is not a man of moderate par. As would retreat in relation to the one time it was to agony that it does not take such a attitude. Head Lieutenant General to such a place has been visited. It's a great lion, but somehow not as likely. It is said that Genji got up, because is something sleeping carefree alone. I have the overslept made to feel good. Is from the Imperial Palace. Yes, still I do not go home. Since the appointment of the ease of the role and the dance of the role of Miyuki Day of the Suzaku Institute it seems some of today. I was exited going to talk to the minister. And also it will return immediately to the Imperial Palace. Quote, Head Lieutenant General is busy. Then let's go together. Saying, Genji was finished with the customer breakfast of porridge and kawameshi. Car of Genji also had been prepared although the two men were riding in one of the car. You are such a Lieutenant General is saying it is sleepy. The secret such as hide me you're likely to have a lot. And I had a grudge against also. Genji also lived in the court all day with many various decisions in the day Imperial Palace. Groom sends the early letter to the next morning, because to continue to faithfully visit from the second night is a common courtesy, if not go out on its own. But I thought the Genji and I want to at least send a letter. I was able to put out the use in the evening to give the leisure. It was raining. Those that attract the hearts of Genji also enough to say let's go even a little in such a night. Found note of the last night of the bride. Therein was waiting to measure the time. But Genji not come. Myobu was also thought tragic queen. Queen himself just only ashamed. Letter supposed to come this morning does not become for many of the hardships that does not come. Up at night. Evening kana evening of rain falling sunny rural scenery also ibus is added to the yet unseen in the fog. This sunny interval no matter how I'll be I think I'm patient. And there was the letter of Genji. Wives and not likely to come appearance was pessimistic. Also recommended that only in this way will write all means reply. The queen that confused the head still from last night. I cannot make even Odin reply of time like that I speaking formally. Chamberlain because night resulting in dandruff was ghosted massaging care. Without looking at the same mind a Momoi the village to wait for the month of night not sunny. It just is said from everyone and must be its own to write. It is a purple paper. Because the old to the grayish character wrote in the letter that indeed a force. It is a shofu of used. It is scattered also one plant had been written aligned up and down without writing. Disappointed Genji was discarded from the hand of the letter. Woman by not go of his own tonight was to have been even agony. Genji try envision such a scene. And would be a no doubt agony. But is it too late? There is no way. Even if I love to not throw away forever. Genji although I thought this as a conclusion. People of Miyake of Hitachi do not know it was not saved from dark feelings anyone. Genji went to the house accompanied by Sadaijin exiting from it night. Looking forward to Miyuki of the day. Young children of nobles gather when the story comes out. Because to the study of dance was a time that had become like a job. It is made to the sound of musical instruments also anywhere in the house. Sunar Sadaijin also. Such as the addition of large hichiriki. Shakuhachi of hero of musical instruments. Also mixed things that make a deep voice from the largest. Had a practice of large scale of the ensemble. And has also to drum rolled to the railing of the place. Young noblemen such role as that supposed to be. Not had also hit it with their own. There is no leisure, everyday Genji in such a thing. Although it is possible to steal the time to go to sincerely miss people of the place. Had finished 9 not be time to go to the house of Hitachi. So always came finally Miyuki of the day is approaching. Mio booth the time to fusser, something Sheila was attendance to court. Would have a few. Genji was showing the heart pity the unfortunate opponent in the face. Myobu of Daisuke told the state of the various ways these days. It's to your cold-hearted. We do not collect and this is what is seen and not that way. It had been up to the crying. Not let stop to feel bad also Genji. The will of the clean this woman had hope gone to the conclusion also that it did not respect. Genji thought and even would have in no matter how uranium. Also that person himself was poor as imagine that would be to continue the pensive in the remains. Reticent example. It's the very busy, impossible to blame. And the Tansoku, from it. Because poor people of the sensitivity even if you think what is here. Koraso it and even if I thought. Genji showed the smile says. Looking at the young beautiful face of the Genji. Myobu to be himself feel that will become a smile. I Rasharu have a youth that is burdened with resentment of love from anyone. I thought he a reason also to the selfish and thin sympathy to the woman. Sometimes Genji from the generation of the least use of this Miyuki preparation is passed through to the temple of Hitachi. Because was of them had reached the Waka Murasaki to the article of the hospital. Genji is not immersed in that love the small queen. It had also become less able to meet the 6-row lady. Also, while all the time over to the heart to go through to the people of the place seemed only too troublesome. Time has passed without exceptional also let's set aside the shame that still deep not even show the face of the queen of Hitachi. Or Genji is say also that there is a possibility to become a favorite from the moment you saw this person in Narawawa. Whether there's a doubt as to groping. There were some that want to see the face of this person only once. Was the anxiety and also I think it has tasted the disillusionment, which is not tired of retraction. Nobody do not think that the coming of the people, the Genji still grave in the middle of the night time go to softly. as seen except from between the lattice. But princess was not be one visible from such a place, one in which very old etc. Kicho. But it takes all neatly remains was made long ago. Walked from somewhere gap or seen Genji as the edge here and there. But the person in the corner of the room just looked. 4. Is the 5 of the wife. Dining table. Dishes. These are is made of china. There is no shadow to look outdated messy. Put such a thing was lowered from the queen of the room. With each other to this people the evening meal was all cold likely. On top of the lost ones that have sooty enough not say anything of the white clothes. They are tied to those in the shape of katagi rashiku sang behind. Moreover, looking at, such as old-fashioned in the amount that the hair was holding back with a comb cuckoo. In the inner Professor Feng, where the wife of the altar service of the court has been the practice of music. And nay Shitakoro there are those who have this kind of cuckoo. Genji was funny to think that what is known Genji until this is assumed to be wife to serve this kind of seal to human beings. Well cold year, was that when you see you also in such a winter live longer. Also those who cry to say so. At a time when the temple like has become come on. Why I would have thought such as it is lonely house. Though might have been also just how badly then at that time. I thought I found that to your apprenticeship be patienting. The woman both so said that the flapping sleeves. Arlias would any moment jumped up into the air. A bear for life. Because the only story, such as worse of rules, Genji became ashamed and have heard. Retreated from there, was to hit the grid to come now. Come on. To say, such as, to brighten the lights. I greeted the Genji by increasing the lattice. Chamberlain is these days because I worked the wife of Saiyan while it is not coming. More olive tune because it does not have as gave color unrefined. Snow had been while ago Yuri of old people has become increasingly oversized. Blowing under the amazing sky storm. It is no person who is going to reattempt it even when the disappeared of light. Night came out of Mononoke of certain of the hospital is to be recalled to Genji. Also how the devastation is a house that is not inferior to it. Narrow of a chambered, but human beings is to seem if you in comfort by more points than at that time. In the terrible night, constantly woke up anxious thoughts it was. Such a thing is rather a thing to deeply love to the woman. But Genji to the other party that does not have also nothing to attract the heart was only remember the disappointment, because I was barely likely night is going to dawn. Genji raised the lattice itself, saw a view of the snow near the garden, without stepping open traces of people. It was followed by a white lonely snow to the far place. Also from being carried out of here now and said, appeared to pour. Go look at you together in interesting the color of the sky of dawn. Should not be painful that even you started to standoffish forever. Although still empty as the dim Genji face than ordinary in the light of the snow looked beautiful and youthful. OL wives was happy given the pleasure of the eye. Come quickly now get out you. Should not the eye rasharu so much. There is the good that Nasaru obediently. When the attention and the like. Even in this extremely shy person. If there is a place which is not turned away anything to say of the people. We're outdoing knee while mending the appearance. Genji is not also not be short grain is used with wind waves watch the snow so as not seen such a person. What about, is an unreasonable hope think of Genji intends Ureshikaro when you are able to discover the place. Beautiful from this person. It was reflected to the eye in the first extending long line of sitting back. Startled was, its next to the extraordinary thing was the nose. Attention is drawn to it. Is the beast it is believed that the elephant riding of Samantalbhadra. High and long, only the bottom of the form that more of the former was hanging under the was red. It seems that it is a defect of the most terrible appearance. Complexion had a blue and white to more snow. Although the amount is high of his swelling, yet because looks long face of the lower seems that the whole is well long face. Skinny thing than about a pore. Bonus such around the shoulder is likely intense. Itakaro had lifted the kimono. While the regret that it would have had to look completely Genji had been distracted by the not too common face and shape of the head. Just the hair takes a degree. Does not seem to be much inferior to people who think it's beautiful hero. Remainder of hem was to fill. The hem of Uchigi was still out to the outside, also about 1 feet. But until the attire of the queen also say as there are like to Hashitanai. I think may be written because it things that are wearing the woman in old novels are intended to be spoken to in foremost on of repeated was gone and discoloration of pink. Was wearing what color of looks black Uchigi. The Kawakuro mode of the hair of incense of sable. Fur is and seems old-fashioned aristocratic wear goods. But not what would become the young woman. It was just odd conspicuous. However, from a face that seems to have unexpected it is endured cold if it is not this dress Genji saw. Sorry, anything cannot say things. But I felt that was until itself to the silence of the people in the same way as the other party was about to ask something and trying to clear reason that this man did not say a thing from the beginning. It is also irresistibly unrefined former covering the deeply mouth with sleeves. Nature, elbow sleeves ritual officers walk needed it is stretched seamed. Woman's face became truly smile had Genwa also nothing ugliness goods. Genji become poor that has seen long. And they are about to go back earlier than I thought. Who may not be relied something anything withhold to me married to know that you do not have the people to take care. And he will say if there is what you need and all happy. Not Kudasara believe me reproachful you from, quote, and the like, and even made an excuse to go out early. Yui Katsurara such as well solved Taru he of Eves pointing Asahi Bohororan. To say even try, only laughed in the mouth and mumu. Because there's a sorry state not likely out of the Odin reply. Genji had went out there. At the driveway of the middle gate it had become wobbling bent. The morning and evening are those that look different every time of devastation. Though nowhere is just unbearable appearance miserable is what appears to be kind regards also the eyes. Only to pine trees had piled up snow in the warmth likely. While feeling the Genji that it is a landscape shame to learn. Such as seen in the countryside. But people have said that in the gate of Mugura sometime expresses his or her appreciation. This will be a house that corresponds to it. Really like said of those people. At a pretty lover in such a house. Is always would be funny I thought that person. Comforted by its suffering that I think is. The people that does not help but think the will would think. But with. This is when is a woman with no power to attract any of the man while or in the poetic circumstances while beating down on man other than your own is put as a wife that does not change that person modify can my. Also he had become the good people of that person. Was the thought that would be the soul of Chichimiya should now think you're the concern went led. When was paid the snow of trees have been buried my Tachibana to Zujin. Next to the pine trees got up to envious on their own. It spilled quickly snow. Much of educated people who dodge to say in words the wind flow at a time like this. If not thought the Genji and I wonder not at least any one person. Since the gate to pass by the car had not opened yet. The person of the test is going to borrow the key. It came out the servant of a very old man. From then, I look also the grandson both daughter. A woman of much between children and adults. Kimono wearing of such that it appears dirty only dirty in the control of the snow. Put fire to something smaller ones in cold likely it came about while holding in the sleeve tay. The daughter helped to see the gates of the snow that unexpected opened at the hands of the old man. Naka Naka does not open. The first time the door because the person who helped out of the test of Genji has been opened to the left and right. Kick to pretend wonder if the morning of the sleeves wet not as good as people see the snow head. Singin'. Also, Sanshui white fun pun. Young people form not by had Genjian. Genji was smile thinking of her said to be of the nose to the phrase at the end of the poem of Hikaruka 10. head lieutenant general would be to any criticism when you see that his bride will say with what the metaphor, because it is people who do not keep an eye on their own actions, and will them notice to this relationship. I think if Genji was felt hard to be saved when met at the woman of queen ordinary appearance, Genji but would have been better be carried out at any time away from the people. From when I saw clearly the ugly appearance, and rather pity heart becomes stronger. Rashiku Yojin. Now it'll make maybe such as the material of the auxiliary. Silk is not the fur of sable. Iya, cotton. Old ones to become women of Chakriyo was. It was also gave to those that give the old man of the gatekeeper. Such a thing as Genji, though it must be unbearable in a woman with self-esteem as the queen of the house of Hitachi, received pleased with it obediently with confidence. You will feel that I want to at least well such a care. It was given to the later well as living expenses. Utsuzumi of the profile that was seen in the flicker of light that was not beautiful, but the grace of figure had plenty of charm. Palace of princess do not identification of person who does not even supposed bad goods than that of Hitachi. It can be seen that is not depend on custody, that it is elegant, and I think such a thing. Sophisticated attitude towards man. The strength of the idea of justice. Utsuzumi has been recalled as Genji, and so was the retreat and defeat finally put on something of that. By the time that Oshitsuma of later that year, Myobu of Daisuke came to night duty office of the imperial palace of Genji. Genji is to be the errands or to comb the hair as a woman with no such romantic relationship. Yet to choose a woman, such as it can be said of Hutan, such as this person is of good hits to the role. Daisuke, even when not called, came from such Kokurayasu of well-to Kuritsubo. It is there then there is strange. We do not would like to be to is that the obstinacy is taken to be bad. There is the rose and got in trouble. The after Daisuke will not say while showing a smile. What would be? I wish to have think you not something to hide anything. No, if you have thereby my own. It is that a waste. But I would like up to the consultation to you like. This story just was totally in trouble. In addition to not going to say, Genji had seen this woman has also started as suggestively as in the example. There then the wreck from the temple of Hitachi. Myobu issued a letter saying, well, nothing if not that there is no reason you have unexpected must be hidden. This said, but received Genji was embarrassed. Only the smell of incense and the other olden became at Subataku dance she had been wearing well. Anyway, it is also our talking body of the letter. The song also. If Karakuromo Mr. Heart Surakari broke is only while Sabachi each nuclear. If you think and what of it, the costume box of exaggerated a package Myobu has issued to before. Would not there I rules of the bad things is not bad, this is rules. Because there seems to have become sent you bother with the intention that in the new year of the summons, the courage to give back also does not have me. Put to me since you will want to ignore the aspirations of suppliers even if I leave. I will find anyway since we over your eyes I think of that managed and disposal. Quote, it's very hard to do is put to bear to your place. Because not even us families to take care of the kimono. Receive grateful for your kindness. It was said that, but did not exit from the other Hutana also mouth. Even so, a bad song. This must be a self-made. Chamberlain is but a place to put the brush if I. And I think that because no teacher is that in addition. Funny how it is imagined that the struggle to the song work of its people. Maybe I must say that too, good lady. Saying Genji was looking at a box of gifts and letters to smile. Myobu had turned red, in relieving the unpleasant color, such as cannot put up with the rouge. Back also rustic dark. It is to abandon vulgar, its end to end is visible from the outside. When Genji, which remember the ikanas, the air writing so as to waste writing onto the woman of letters, Myobu is looking sideways. What to only touch this Suitsumu Hana sleeves without nostalgic color both. Domoshika seen as Irokoki flower. And also is red. that's likely to be divided into character of flowers. The face of the queen, sometimes seen in such as night yelling pointing of the month Myobu, is remembered at length. While I think that terrible a doodle of Genji goes wrong, if without making a single-mindedly shoe plus name even thin flower clothing of Kurenai, its patience is also theirs the duty of life. Quote, is Myobu not be much of a woman who is saying such a thing seems certain understanding. But Genji was felt shame, and at least was good if only to that person in the talent portion of this. Identification is an identity. I think that I do not want to let stand feel sorry a name such as that abandoned from his was the real intention of Genji. Since the footsteps of the people who come to waiting upon here, I do try to hide it. The man I do we have to sometimes also imitate. Genji told him Mashi likely would have multiplied why your eyes. Myobu become embarrassed until he was only seems to human beings superficial got away softly. When the next day Myobu is out to soft buttocks the weighing table plant Genji accept. It's come answer face somehow become stiff and sunny is better rather than. And through the letter, court lady who had many was variously imagine the contents of the letter of Genji. Each of Tatarami flowers discarded, and if the mountain girl of Mikasa, Genji has gone singing the lyrics that. Also, when I think that is a red flower song. Myobu was laughing so funny. Wife et al. Do not know the reason for this unanimously. Why I started to the alone laugh. And he said, I in the morning of no cold frost. Like a song called, Yeah prefer Sally, and each of Tatarami flowers. Will found that the was wearing a red Sally ended round the red and nose someday. When says or Daisuke, Myobu will would not be here as much as the red nose people will sing you a song like that bother. Second of Myobu's or Higaha of Uname was together at that time, and the like. Those people were clamoring to say also do not be so mean to own these mysteries of Genji is relevant. The hensho of Genji Myobu is Taurus Maidave. In the temple of Hitachi, wreathed in uproar gathered wife. Encounter is unexpected, and I stain also Idodo body superimposed on Kuromode of the septum in the fine night. Just a very beautiful it is written casually to the white paper. 30 days into the clothing box gave from Miyaki in the evening of one kasane of white kasode. That Genji was a gift from the other. Of red-purple fabric jacket. The other to put various things toka bright yellow also Myobu was Taurus Maidave. I think we have the meaning of the illusion that became Atsukuri's was not a good color here. And as one of the wife says, but nobody is to take so we believe in common sense. But in read that there, I was a ponderous workmanship. No way it should not be that here favor is wasted. Old woman US have decided so. Dat your song. Hirism had become can you thoroughly meaning is strong. His Odin reply is I have two wins finesse. This is also be said of the guys. Suitsumu Honda also because was a large painstakingly crystals were allowed to write your own on paper. From among the commotion the original 3 days is only an addition to and fro and young children of nobles and Mantoka this year is around to the singing and dancing. Genji had been Omoiya, a lonely Hitachi of the temple, the wafer after being subjected to Hakuba section meeting of the 7 days. Down your normal palace. It came from dandruff night while showing the fuste and kiri pot to the place of Suitsumu Hana. So far the changes in this house had become Rishiku ordinary house. The figure of the queen was also seems to be a place a little feminine. Also, such as would however there is a payoff or for sacrifice if possible to the people of as completely beyond recognition. Genji was wondering. Hanoderu until the time is also Yorori to the next morning it had remained. I opened the east side of Sumato, because they've broken lasted corridor from there to the other side. It has been the day came from just doorway. Those in the room seemed well everyone is mixed also little bit of accumulated which was snow light. Genji was beautiful even hair that spilled to the tatami of Suitsumu Hana of the head of the form is Also the side that was sleeping sideways while looking at to or wearing a fix. And when the time is reached, which can be seen beautiful face of this person. The lattice is Genji raised with hope to the future such a thing. Once also remember that it has been regret to the dawn of snow that had seen not remain this person. Is to top all the way without pushing up the grid. It was to support quick guide to the top hotels. Kyosoku to there. When Genji is fixed there was disturbance of the hair. Toka dressing table became very old. Comb box of china can. Kim carrying a wife and a box of scraping up. Indeed an ordinary place to be there for there is no man only hair tool as it is or a little. Aligned Genji thought interesting. Suitsumu Hana is the look and became a modern person style is because the ones in the box clothing that has been presented to the 30 days have all been used as it was the place we're unaware of. Genji. Only Uchigi which I thought to be a good pattern was felt that a familiar. It because I was in the spring. I let hear even your little voice today. It was Makadoshika, nothing more than the nightingale. And say, crane spring to is the 100 staggered sing spring we each stiffness go domo aratamera for each object. Said only a barely whispered, thank you, has been rewarded finally into New Year's Eve. Laughing with, forgo the Genji go back while the old song called forgot no mu respectively whether a dream is to the mouth. But Suitsumu Hana example the mouth from the shadow of the song sleeves were visible in red. While walking in his unsightly a Genji thought. Scene of Genji back to the article of the hospital. Waka Murasaki of appearance. Such as adult only half was cute. A kai color feeling of received from this person. But I saw that it was there also so nostalgic red. Intercession of innocent only of the person who without soft wearing an elongated plain cherry color. Which is cute as beautiful. By was blackened teeth that were not dyed still in the taste of old-fashioned grandmother. It looking better be beautiful eyebrows. It is to be of their own. But I wonder with why a variety of woman which is not boring in lover. Became a fellow of Hina so be as usual while Genjian is not just a so Karen people. Kimmy Purple was also or painted to buy a picture. What a beautiful nature even if is visible full of it. Genji also wrote a picture together. Writing a long woman of hair. Seen wearing a red nose. Such the ugly also in the picture. Genji also while looking at the beautiful own face caught on the mirror. Looking painted red nose with a brush. It was deemed unsightly, which or mixed one of the red nose to any good looks. Waka Murasaki to see. I laughed once Candy. I am what if made in such a crippled. And say, I would hate to say, are you with or not? Shimawa soaked purple was worried. Genji showed to imitate only wipe. It does not become absolutely white. I was that stupid. Majesty will if you say. To tell you a straight face. And compassion so as not to be poor. So went to Danshi the water of the water bowl of ink stone by to buckwheat. Waka Murasaki wiped the red nose. Something the ink is in the story of the flat relationship I should not be painted on this. Red one can still put up with. Two people who are playfully and such a thing is youthful and beautiful. Under the sky tinged with early spring-ish haze. When in a lot of trees that are considered without any news and weather blossom. But appeared to be of wood only special they could have a beautiful flower plum. Green since the red plum beside the floor hidden was especially early blooming trees. The branches looked the other crimson. Tatsueta of plum flower each ruru wrong side without eye of Kurenai is but nostalgia. I'll try to expected such a thing Genji was Tansoku. Suitsumu Hana. Waka Murasaki. These people what happened from it? Yakuchu. This volume is starting from January of the same year on the winding of the Waka Murasaki.